Welcome back folks, today we're going to talk about Stalker 2. I have some good news because GSC Game World has updated their list for 2025 when it comes to their patches and features which they want to introduce into the game. And there are some things here that a lot of people were requesting, and I'm actually really glad that they're going to finally add it. So let's go through the entire list and see everything which awaits us in the Q3 and Q4 of 2025. Again, keep in mind that they also said at the end that these things could be technically delayed. So first off, they're going to have the engine update to Unreal Engine 5.5.4 for basically optimization, because Unreal Engine 5 has released new versions which are much more optimized than some of the stuff which they do use in their game. GSC is going to utilize to actually increase the frame rate as much as they can, which is really a net positive, because ultimately for all of us we want better frame rate and more stability in general, especially when it comes to entering like any sort of a social hub within the game or that sort of locations. They're going to very much drop your frame rate a lot until all of those metahumans load in, etc, etc. Hopefully 5.5.4 update to Unreal Engine 5 is going to sort that out, but again it also depends on what the GSC does with it. But now we have this thing, so they're going to add various night vision devices. Yes, night vision is finally getting added into Stalker 2 alongside binoculars. These are two things that were present in previous Stalker games, and people were wondering like, why don't we have night vision and binoculars within Stalker 2? So we're finally getting them. I know it took a while, but at least you know that developers are listening to what people have to say and what people are requesting. So yes, we are actually going to see during the night. That's very nice. Now when it comes to the A-Life updates, they're going to have more A-Life zones, meaning that various technical improvements and updates will be done there. Now NPCs can't see in the dark as good as before without night vision, so this is really good, because if they're going to change that dynamic, of actually going onto a mission during the night and having, NPCs actually not see you, that's actually a big plus. Also, NPC combat updates will happen. We'll see in detail what's that going to be. And also mutants combat and balance updates. That's pretty much they always do. They're also going to introduce new anomalies, so that will be fun. New missions from old and new friends. Okay. This should be okay. Hopefully this means that maybe we can have some repeatable missions with, some of the people that we know from previous Stalker games that you meet within Stalker 2 without spoiling anything. So maybe it's going to be something related to that. They're going to also add the new weather scenario. They're going to have the master difficulty preset. So that's actually something worth getting into if you're going to be playing Stalker 2 again from scratch. Now also they're going to have extended day and night cycle. I think this is kind of cool, because to be honest, like day and night, especially when it comes to day in this game, it's really fast. I think I do one thing, all of a sudden it's during the night, and even sometimes it feels like the night is even longer than the day itself. Of course it's not, but it just feels like it. Now, another thing which I definitely want added is something that was present in previous Stalker games, is the ability to choose how much I want to sleep per hour in the game, because right now in Stalker 2 if you go to bed, you just press F, Skiff is gonna go to sleep and wake up in about 6-7 hours, or sometimes even 8, which to me is honestly sort of problematic, because if I want to have some gameplay, or if I want to go somewhere during the morning, because that's just how I feel like doing that mission, it's not really easy to set that up, so they should definitely have that option as well. They're also going to rework stashes and loot there. I mean, should be interesting to see. They're going to rework stamina and energy drinks. I think this is fine. I mean, sometimes after all of these updates, it feels like I'm eating too much. Like I'm going to drink one energy potion, I'm going to have like 3 different types of food, and all of a sudden within like 5 minutes, because I drank another energy potion, I'm going to be like hungry again. I think they also need to sort that out a little bit more, because I feel like I'm burning through my stash when it comes to food a lot faster than I did in previous updates. They're going to also have the player equipment UI update. Finally, I'm really glad this is going to be happening. The previous UI, or well, the current one, is not really the most, how they say, explanatory of what is actually happening within your character. They're going to have more UI updates and improvements. They're going to add local save backup restoration. I think this is very important. As it is with Stalker 2, there is always a chance something might be corrupted, especially if you're modding or you're just playing the game, you get stuck somewhere. Problems can happen in these sort of games, so having some sort of backup or any sort of restoration is always recommended for a title like Stalker. Of course, they're going to add further optimization and anomalies fixing, so that's also very nice. When it comes to the zone kit or well modding tools for Stalker 2, phase 1 to 2 is also going to be happening between Q3 and the Q4. This also means audio modding, narrative tools, improved compatibility to various mods that interact with the common game system, enhanced blueprint modification support, and technical improvements and optimization. Also, they announced the Discord holiday event, so probably sometimes around Christmas. Of course, that is still kind of far away, but we are slowly but surely getting to, December itself and those sort of holiday seasons. I think they can really do a nice sale maybe then, if all of these things are updated by then. I mean, this is going to be really nice for new people who are just getting into the game, because now you have those binoculars, now you have those night vision goggles that people were requesting. I think they also need to sort out like the lamp that we are using. Sometimes it just feels like I'm using a really small lamp and it just doesn't make any sense even during the night. I know they probably want to keep this sort of a horror element to it, but I feel like sometimes it's not even scary, it's just that I need a better lamp. Now besides this, they also have more Stalker Legends of the Zone Enhanced Edition improvements. That means, the previous Stalker games which recently received the Enhanced Edition, better graphics, textures and so on. I'm going to talk about that, by the end of August when I go through all of that trilogy, the enhanced one. And they also have the release of Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl on PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 5 Pro, which was already announced. And as I said at the beginning of the video, there is a chance that this might be moved from 2025 to later dates in case of zone instability, or basically if they don't make it. So GSE is definitely listening. I think 1 or 2 more years and Stalker 2 is definitely going to sort of feel like what developers intended it for it to be, because it released in the state that it did release. It had many issues, especially some of those first patches were huge when it comes to just fixing the foundation of the game, making sure everything works, making sure quests work, and people are still reporting, and something I've seen like from videos people post is that A-Life is better, and something I experienced, of course it's better. I'm fighting, more enemies, I'm fighting more mutants, maybe a bit too much when it comes to bloodsuckers. They definitely need to tone down the bloodsucker count and numbers, because bloodsuckers are not that common within the zone, especially in some of the areas you can find them. It's better to replace them with some lower tier mutants, because to be honest it's getting sort of annoying when it comes to them. But it's getting better. I still see people sometimes spawn in front of me again. I think that around 1 more year of A-Life updates will definitely be needed until it sort of starts looking more akin to what previous Stalker games did and what they imagined to be an upgraded version of that A-Life system for Stalker 2. But I'm happy because we're getting more stuff, and I think some of these first patches could be probably in September. I don't see it happening, August, maybe by the end of the August, but I'm thinking September or October would definitely be a good time frame for some of these first major patches to start coming out, and probably the second one being all the way in November or December itself. But hey, this is still year 1. They have DLCs to do, they have that stuff which they promise, prior to releasing the game when it comes to that extra content. But I'm pretty sure they want to sort this thing out, they want to add features people were requesting, they want to clear out the game basically in that sense before they start adding more stuff which was planned into the game. And I think on the long run this is going to be very much good for them, because they already made money from sales. Now they're going to release on PlayStation. If that's very successful, that's going to be good, because that means more money, and if that money is reinvested again into Stalker 2, upgrading it and developing it more, I think this is going to be very, very nice. And I know it's not ideal that companies release games and then fix them for 2.5 years, but at least the game is not abandoned, and they're keeping their promise of actually including stuff that the community has been requesting, so that's a huge plus from me. And that's everything for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to tell me down below what What do you think about all of this? Do you like it? What else are you expecting from them to do? Just write it down below. And of course, if you enjoyed this, consider liking and subscribing for more. Huge thanks to my current Patreon supporters. Join our community on Twitter and Discord, and I will see you very soon in a new video. Now, get out of here, Stalker.